All right, folks, welcome back to the channel. Thanks for watching. Appreciate everybody being here. As we get this crazy crotch log loaded up on the mill, I wanted to tell you about a couple exciting things real quick, and then we'll get into the video and talk about what's going on. So first of all, I want to thank Teresa and Sean over at Wallace Woodworks. They were my customers here on this job. Absolutely great folks, and I will drop a link down in the description to their Instagrams as well as the YouTube page that they have. So great folks, thanks for the business. And I'll tell you, they got me some drone shots from somebody that really looked awesome, and you're going to see some of that in some upcoming videos, so that's really awesome. I also wanted to tell you about the new logo. If you haven't seen it, I'll throw it up right here. We finally got it done, and I'm working on getting some t-shirts and hats, and I'll drop a link down on the bottom to my merch store where you can go and buy some of those items, and it really helps support the channel, so I appreciate you doing that, and I hope you like the logo. We love it. So let's get into this log here. You can see that is a big crotch. It is over 36 inches on that crotch end of this log and about 26 on the small end. The customer wanted this slabbed up into 3-inch slabs. So theoretically, this is gonna go pretty quick, right? Not so fast. With a log like this, which is 5.5 feet long, it's not going to sit well on the bunks and going to be very, very difficult to turn. So while you're watching this video, pay attention to some of the tricks that I use to get this log positioned, and some of them are going to be pretty obvious, cant hooks and manpower and that kind of stuff, but you're going to see something in the video today that you've never seen me do before. So stick around and wait till I show you that, because if you're running a sawmill, you're going to want to try this. And if you're not, you just might find it interesting. Some of the cool things I do to get logs positioned on the deck. Now you can see with this one, it was a bear. 5.5 feet long is a little bit short to fit on all the bunks right. And you'll notice I actually raised the far end toe board, not to lift the log, but to provide a stop so that it wouldn't fall down between the bunks as easily. And then once I get it positioned, the first thing I got to do is run the mill almost to the max height and cut that top off to try to whittle that down a little bit so that I can start to work this log. But as you're going to see, it was not easy. So here we go. I've taken the top off. Now I'm going to turn it, and I'm going to try to flip it 180 degrees. Well, let me tell you, just watch this, because what you're going to see is a whole lot of messing around to get this log positioned in such a fashion that I can mill it. Check this out. You can see it doesn't want to roll, just doesn't want to move. I've got my manual side supports up, I've got my hydraulic side supports up. I measure it, I think, okay, with the position it's in, I'm just going to go ahead, leave it here, and I'm going to take some more off the top. I'm trying to get it down so that I can get it down around 24 inches, maybe a little lower. We did finalize on 22. That's going to allow me to get the head past on both sides. But first, I couldn't even get past right here, so out comes that little husky chainsaw, whittle it down a little bit, then we're going to take this top off. But even with the chainsaw, I missed a little bit, so it's back in with a big screwdriver and a hammer to get some more bark off and clean the way out so I can get past it. Fire the saw back up. And look at the size of the slab on that end. That's a good 6 or 8 inches right there. That crotch was big and in the way, and there was no other way to mill this down. But we got that top off, so now time to roll it over, right? The log clamp and the log turner were not positioned very well. They're down near the small end of the log, and that makes it very, very difficult to turn a log like this. So we're going to do a lot of jockeying around and using cant hooks and using the hydraulics and really messing around to get this rolled over. But we got it rolled up. Now we can take the other side off. And we're just taking a little bit, just trying to whittle it down, because we want to try to keep it as wide as we can mill it, but it is such an unruly piece of wood that we took what we could, and then time to reposition again. As you can see, it just doesn't want to roll. The reason for that is it's positioned too far down the deck. We're able to get it rolled, just takes a little bit of work, get it positioned. Now I can come back and start taking some more off. And it's really just whittling it down to get to a point that we've got something usable. And you'll see right here, I was actually cutting on a bit of an angle. It's because I just couldn't get it positioned well enough to do otherwise. That's okay though. We were able to flatten it out enough that we can go ahead and move it again. And we're just going to keep working it. It's a real challenge. Look at it fall down between the bunks right there. When you're working a log like this, your big concern is rolling it off the wrong side of the mill. That's a problem. You don't want to do that. But when we get it into okay position, you'll notice I also have the loader forks pretty much almost all the way up still. Again, that's a safety measure. I don't want it rolling off the backside or the driver's side of the mill. So I'm keeping them up, keeping my side supports up, trying to keep everything as safe as I can, but this is a tough log to roll. You can see I'm really struggling with it here, but we get it flipped over, and it actually knocked my camera down. If you see in the picture, you can see the GoPro on the far end is falling over. We've been slamming the deck around a lot with this one. All right, we're kind of get it into a bit of a position here. It's getting a little better, but every time I try to move it, you can see it just doesn't want to play. Constant battle to try to get this log in a position that I can actually mill it down for the customer. We're going to make some good stuff out of it, but first we've got to get it positioned better. So we keep working it, keep trying to move it around a little bit. Get in there, push it, pull the side supports back up, get the log cant in. Now here, I'm going to have the customer hold on to my big 48-inch log right cant hook and kind of hold it while I turn it. That way it's going to do what I want, not what it wants to do. A little bit of convincing, we'll get it rolled over. All right, there we go. Almost there, but now I got to try to kick it back over off the side support. There we go. Have you ever had a problem with a log like this? Go ahead and drop it in the comments. Let me know what you think. And here we go. Trying to move it back over to the side. It just doesn't want to do it. Out come the cant hooks. Push it again. Move it around. But every time I try to move it, you'll notice it just doesn't want to play. But we got it moved. Notice it's sitting over those side supports. Again, this is a trick I've showed you before. I've pushed it over the side supports to give me the maximum cut I can get on this. It's still pretty wide. Now I'm going to try to get it repositioned, and here's a trick you haven't seen me do before, but it's something I use from time to time. I'm going to take a choker chain, choke up the end of the log, and I'm going to wrap this chain around my hydraulic side supports, get it nice and tight, and then I'm going to raise the side supports, and it's going to pull that log down the deck for me. Just watch what happens here. And there she goes. Look at that. That's a Magic Man tip. Hat tip to Magic Man over at Forestry Forum. I think he's the one that taught me that one. It's a great little trick. You're going to see me do it again. Just kind of get things moved a little bit better. And all I'm doing is I'm just choking up the log, wrapping it around that hydraulic side support, and then up she goes, pull the log down. Now it's in a better position on the bunk. Kind of move it back over so I can get the chain out. And I'm going to have to wiggle it around a little bit, kind of get it into a better position. It's too far over the side there. I wouldn't be able to get the mill head past that. Big and heavy. There we go. All right. Got a position now. Why? So I can roll it again. We're losing a lot of that crotch, but we've still got some in here. They're going to be able to make some nice stuff out of this once we get it down, but it is absolutely a challenge to get this milled right. Okay, we've got it positioned. I'm going to push it back over the side supports again. Again, you can see it's definitely over those side supports. That's because I've got a few inches on the inside there that if I push it over those side supports, I can still clear the mill coming past it, but it gives me that wider cut. And now we can actually start really getting this thing knocked down. So let's let it run. Let's see how she goes, and then I'll come back and talk to you a little bit afterward. Each of these slabs is pretty heavy. You don't really look it in the video, but they're not light slabs. Teresa was a trooper. I really didn't expect her to be carrying some of this heavy stuff, but she got right in there just like the guys and just started hauling it out. So good for her. I think she was in better shape than all of us too, though. So that's a 3-inch by over 26-inch by 5.5 foot slab. I think it weighed more than Teresa did. They had some fun carrying that off the deck right there, and it's a challenge. Now I could lower those loaders now. It's a habit to leave them up just for safety reasons, but you see now I got them out of the way, make it a little easier to carry that by. Now I've got to take this remaining slab and I got to flip this over now. It's going to sit better on the deck. It's going to be easier for me to manage, so we're just going to flip it 180 degrees. That should give me a little more room to flatten it out and get something out of the bottom of it. Down she goes. You can see it's still pretty heavy. It's moving the deck around quite a bit. We're going to get it positioned, get the side supports out of the way, and then mill it up. But oh look, I got stuck. Out comes the chainsaw again. Even down at this point, because now it's right up against the 3/4 inch side supports on the deck. My max cut is 24 inches. So you can see how wide that is. I was not able to get by it without cutting a little bit out. And I knew at this point it was still too wide. I was about 26 inches wide. So here's another little trick that sometimes you gotta do on wide slabs. And that is, I'm gonna stand it up and I'm gonna knock it down to 24 inches. Just something that has to happen sometimes. So we get her stood up. Now we'll go ahead, we'll take it down to 22 inches to give me plenty of cut room to get by. No more binding up on anything. That's going to give them the final 22-inch slab width. Now I will tell you, Sean is an awesome carpenter. If you check out his Instagram or check out his YouTube, you're going to see some amazing stuff. You know, I like to do carpentry myself. I'm a hack. Sean's amazing. Just fantastic work. He's got all the right tools. So for him, he wanted some pretty rough dimensions because he can resaw whatever he wants. So anyway, folks, thanks for watching. Check out that merch store. Put up a old Jarhead sticker on your sawmill. Everybody have a great day. Thanks for watching. The old Jarhead out.